Hello everyone, Harmonic Rush here. It's been a long time that I haven't posted any tutorial videos, so I decided to give a quick tour of how some of the presets that I've made for my new Serum pack, Consequence and Mass Effects. So I was just gonna go through some of the sounds and pick one and just see how it's made and show you a little bit of like tricks that I use for creating large effects and um, cool psychedelic effects on my tracks. So as you can see, I've loaded Serum, and I'm just gonna go through the Consequence pack and just use one of the sounds. I really like the laboratory one that I did. So in this sound, as you can see, I've used three oscillators, so the A and B both working, and sub obviously is on for using FM synthesis, and there is a fair bit of modulation happening on each oscillator here. The filter type, I put it on high pass and band pass, so I could move through it. And in the effects channel, we've used a fair bit of effects, as you can see, starting with distortion, phaser, chorus, delay, filter, a little bit of compression. Reverb is a must-have for creating large effects, and an EQ at the end to tighten the sound. And in the matrix pattern here, as you can see, there is a fair bit of modulation happening, and to be honest, it's almost full. So and the reason being is that I love this capability in Serum that you can pretty much modulate anything now. So we go through that as well of how this sound is made. So the sound itself, it sounds like this, and just so you know, I'm just connected my ABC40, so I'm gonna control things from that if you don't see the cursor moving. So the sound, the preset sounds like this. So that's on its own, and all those modulation that I did in matrix pattern is basically connected to these four macros. So the macros. These macros basically enables you to turn the knob up and down and create amazing effects, or just modulate specific things that you think you could play around with, which I'll find that really handy because I just record it and keep playing with them until I get like a really cool sound, and I crop that audio and use it in a bit of like fillers and things, which comes in really handy. So let's just see how the effects work. Cool, huh? Alright, so let's go through. Obviously, as you notice, when I was tweaking the up, it's basically just filtering it up, and as you can see, if I click on here, like it shows me where it's connected to, and I believe there is few in the effects channel, maybe. Or it could be one of these LFOs just creating some sort of effect. And if you want to know exactly where it's connected to, you could browse through the matrix pattern, obviously, and just find out. So as you can see, it's on an EQ, another EQ, filter, and filter variations. So that's just one knob creating all of that effect. And in the glitch section, obviously, it's where things get really interesting. So I basically modulated the filter, the mix of the filter, and all of these knobs are basically connected to the chaos LFO here, which is one of absolutely one of my favorite LFOs. And clearly you could create it your own here and have it randomizing, but I really like the randomization, especially when I'm putting it on SNH. So yeah, glitch basically does that, and distortion, as you saw, was creating a little bit of distortion, which is connected here, and a bit of like, you know, phasing to get that right sounds. As you flick through them, you could find the right phasing. And Atmos, as it sounds, is just a bit of delay and reverb. All right, so let's go through and create the same sound. And if you wanted to know how it sounds with a kick and bass line, I'm just gonna play it like that. All right, awesome. All right, so let's create the same sound. Let's replicate it. All right, so in my Serum pack, I obviously provided the wavetables that I've used, and few of them was obviously from Serum itself, and few of them was recorded back in my studio when I was in Dubai. So I had like few of the frequencies of my synthesizers recorded, and I thought it's a good idea to use it as a wavetable in Serum. So a few of them comes from that, and a few of them just from samples. I just drag and drop, and it has a really unique sound, so I just use it. So I named these frequencies Chris Rich because he's one of my favorite artists who inspired me to create those sounds. Like his music and his structure of unique FM synthesis was really cool. So that was the inspiration. That's where it's come from. That's why I named it Chris Rich. So if I flick through the frequencies, obviously it's a soft frequency, and as you go through it, it just gets tighter and tighter. So sounds a bit like that. And the next oscillator, I will choose Rich, which I believe it was frequency in Serum. I think I've flicked through multis here, and yeah, I found it, and I've tweaked it a little bit. And this one, beautiful. All right, so first off, let's create that RP effect. So the way I tend to do it is using LFO, and on the new Serum update, it gives you the ability to move the curve, which I found it really helpful for these sort of like presets. So what I'm gonna do is have the levels completely down, and I will target them by just dragging it on the volumes here. I'll make sure it's on BPM and it's on trigger mode, so every time it triggers, it just plays from the initial, and I'll change that to a rate of 16 per beat. So if I play this sound, it sounds like that. Now if I have to modulate this, sounds already cool. So what I'm gonna do is I'll basically connect this to an LFO shape that on a sine frequency, and by doing that I just right click on it and module curve LFO, and I use LFO 2, and already created that effect that I wanted. So I'm gonna put this on no BPM at all, free. Sounds about right over there. Okay. Now the next thing I want to do is to create randomization of this pattern. So the way I can manipulate that is I'll go to my global section, and I have this on BPM sync. I'll put it on times 8 for now, just to see the effect, and I'll put this on SNH mode. And I could right click on this again and choose a model curve on the LFO2 boss, and I'll use Chaos 1, and let's check the effect. Alright, now you are wondering why I have 2 LFO on it. Well, the first one obviously creates that curve, which without it, it's just too sharp, but with this it just comes a little bit smooth. Let's play with it. Alright, now I'm going to use on a 16 bar. Cool. Alright, let's go dive into the sound and just create that rich sound that we wanted. Alright, so I'm going to put this on a lower octave. And same as this one. I'm gonna put the level of the bus, sorry, of the sub down, and I'll use FM out of that from the sub oscillator. Cool. Let's tag into this. Too fast. Just gonna right click and remove. Actually, no, I'm gonna go to matrix and choose this as LFO3. And I'll do the same effect here. I will use sine frequency. Maybe I'll just do flat one, holding control, sorry, shift, alright. Now I'm gonna create, obviously as you can hear, that sounds really high pitched, so I'm gonna distort it by bending the actual frequency, and what happens when I do that, it just does this. When I flick through the harmonies, it just creates that really sharp attack on it. And to be fair, that's the sound made, and just gonna do the same thing here. Cool. Now let's choose the filter. Obviously I've used the multi of high pass and band pass. It's up to you, up to your taste. Well, as a matter of fact, you know what, let's just go on the band pass and just flick through and see what we can get. I like that. Just gonna add a bit of resonance. Get it fat. Cool. So I'm gonna use the same LFO that I used here. So I'm just gonna put that there, holding Shift and Alt and clicking on it. It will allow you to go from the center point left to right. If you want to redo it, you do the same thing, holding Shift and Option if you're on Mac or Windows, and just click on it and it will change the switches. And the last thing I want to do is to have this one assigned to a source from Chaos 1. Now I'm going to go to my matrix pattern and probably change this a little bit and put the volume and probably do the same thing. Beautiful. And that's pretty much the sound down, to be honest. And if I correctly, I've honestly made this sound on a spot. I wasn't planning on, like, doing anything to it, but that's pretty much the effects that I used to make that sound. And the next bit obviously is, the effects and the way you want to arrange it and filter it, etc., etc. So I will just flick through something random. Sounds nasty as hell. I'm gonna use oof, too nasty. I'm gonna use the down sample. And I can obviously have that here. And connect it to that. Cool. Alright, next bit. Let's add a phaser. Do the same thing. Beauty. Now let's add a compression. So this sound with OTT just goes nuts. I want to test this with the kick and bass. Alright, looks like we're getting somewhere with this. Alright, cool. So the most important effect obviously is the glitch. So the glitch obviously works with the filter. So I'm just going to bring the filter before the compression. So every knob I turn, the compression, basically the OTT here's, and then gives me the actual beautiful artifact of that compression. So I'm going to use the flange mode section, and I'm going to use the comb. So bring the resonance up. Already gives me the psychedelic effects that I want, so I'm gonna repeat the same effect again. Motors on Chaos 1. And I will choose it to go from center left to right. Dragging the LFO3 on it as well. Alright, cool. Now the next bit that I want to do is create another LFO and repeat the same thing. Obviously have that on LFO bus, connecting it to Chaos. and I'm gonna connect LFO4 in the matrix pattern and connect this one to the global master amp. Now the same effect of this basically goes into bringing this up and connecting the source of that to macro 2. Let's put that on 16. And the funniest thing I could do with this is to connect this to another chaos. Cool. And obviously the next bit would be having this all the way going up, so let's give it a bit more resonance to it, why not, right? Just going really R2D2E. What else? Well, obviously the EQ, we can add an EQ and turn this down. Let's do this and have this one going with a chaos as well. Just chaos everywhere. Just nasty. And having this going here as well, so we can have that really tight. Maybe too much. Let's have this one on a lower volume. And let's add a bit of reverb and delay, and let's have the reverb before compression and have that as ping pong. Bring this down, put the low cut, bit of decay, maybe reverb afterwards. And then we just have this down to maybe here, and have the last micro connected to the this bit, opening it up to the curve. One more to here, add the volume down to probably 10. Have the reverb all the way down and bring it up for a good impact. All right, let's test this out. This was just quickly putting the sound together. Obviously, it's not as detailed, like there is few more missing. So it's just connection to whatever I could find to manipulate in the effects section, chorus, oscillation, whatever I could put my hands on. But in a way, the sound sounds like this. Awesome. Well, that's the end of the video, and thanks for watching. I hope this was a cool tutorial to create, like, you know, cool psychedelic effects. Let me know in the comments below if you have anything, any requests that you want me to do. I'm happy to do more tutorials, and catch you guys on the next video. Have a good one.